What do you do if you find yourself in a sexless marriage? Is there hope? Can it change? Let's talk about it. Welcome to Lights On.
Welcome.
Laura Lentz.
Yes, hello.
How are you feeling?
I feel pretty good, apart from you coughing all over the place.
Thanks to you.
That's true.
Can I just take a quick second to shout out your outfit? You look like exactly the girl that I fell in love with when I was about 20 in the same outfit. You're aging backwards, and I find that to be really awesome.
Probably because of my peptides.
Shout out to your peptides. My Lord. Fountain of youth.
Sure is.
A sexless marriage is something that is very, very real. And we believe, Laura and I, we believe that the most important relationship in your life, you can design it. And I'm speaking about your marriage or the marriage you may have someday. Rather than accept it or resent it or survive it, what if you can really design it? And before I even continue another second, I want you to lean in, because if you are brand new, by the way, we're so glad to have you. Our podcast is a community of people just trying to get better. And let me make sure you know the context, and you never forget the context from which Laura and I are speaking from. We are not marriage experts, nor do I believe marriage experts even exist. If anything, we are resilience experts. We are two people married 22 years that have been through hell and back, devastating betrayal on my end, which Laura will point out frequently.
Facts.
Public and private humiliation that was crushing, and a lot of hope. And today, as we record this podcast, we are deeply connected, deeply in progress, not perfect, but we're in touch, connected, more so with each other than maybe either of us ever thought was even possible. So if we can do it, you can do it. And I don't know where you find yourself today, what you're listening to, what internal tape you have going about your marriage or your relationship. If Laura and I can still forget about love each other, even look at each other, there's hope for anybody that wants to work. And that's why we have this podcast, is to point to some light that can light up some rooms in your life, in your relationship that maybe have been a little bit dark. So we're going to answer a question today from one of our amazing listeners, which, by the way, how can people send in questions? These are so freaking helpful.
DMs are always great.
Yep.
And then you can email hello@carlandlaura.com.
Yeah. And so we're going to hit this theme today, a beautiful question from a very valued listener. We love you dearly for sending it in. And the question sent was this. My husband has not initiated sex in 12 years. Why won't he? What do I do? So if you can relate, listen up, because we're going to turn the lights on here and we're going to talk about the sexless marriage epidemic, because it's that big of a deal right now, what it is and what can be done about it, because there's a lot that can be done about it. So the sexual activity component, or lack thereof, is an obviously vital piece to a relationship that's ever going to matter. And I once heard it said, and I love this, if the sex is right, it's barely a thing. If it's not right, it is everything. And that has some serious, serious weight to it. And I think it's largely true. It's a little bit like oxygen. Unnoticed when it's flowing, impossible to ignore when it's missing. And that's a reality for a lot of people.
Yeah, for sure. And I think on this topic, there is a ton of shame, secrecy, and genuine lack of good information out there. Because we've talked about this before, typical Christian communities don't really talk much about anything, especially this area.
Yeah.
Especially if you were raised in a Christian environment like I was, there just simply isn't a lot of conversation around sex at all.
Yeah.
Or apart from don't do it and then don't do other things until you're married.
Yeah, I mean, you could sum it up. I mean, and most of us are just genuine in this. Like we just grew up in the systems that we grew up in. Nobody was trying to hurt anybody or not give people information. But in our experience, it was, and this is true for a lot of people. I mean, there's a lot of pre-marriage stuff. And then there is a lot of pretty good post-betrayal stuff. When things get bad, that's when you go see counseling.
Right.
But there's just not a whole lot in the middle. Like, you have people out there just trying to figure it out. So the man brings what he knows, and the other partner brings what she knows and what she thinks is right. And then you mix it together, And typically it's just not a great product. Like two people with really no context, like the guy's probably dipping into locker room talk, a little bit of porn, that's his frame, and some Bible. And the girl's bringing in whatever she's got, and you put it together, and it's not necessarily like the most beautiful, brilliant setup for a life that you're going to love sexually.
Yeah, because then when you do talk about it, if you try to talk about it,
Yes.
or say something to a pastor or a leader, a very well-meaning Christian, you got to brace yourself for whatever wisdom they're going to give you, because it's from their weird experience and that's all they know.
Yeah.
And then you've got to trust what they say.
You
So
you have some of the best stories. Tell the one about the genuine wife who was like sharing with us how she tried to talk to her pastor. And you know what? It's not easy. Like being a pastor is very challenging anyway, but most pastors are just inheriting and then reteaching what they've been taught. And so she basically went in to talk to her pastor, and she was unhappy about an act her husband kept asking her to perform. It was nothing crazy, by the way, but she was just like, I don't necessarily enjoy this. But what was said?
Well, she kind of like, she was saying exactly that. Like, he always wants this. And the advice that she got back was, well, we kind of just got to get through it. Nobody likes that, really. And I'm like, dang, that's not great advice.
No, that's not the best advice. But I remember you talking with this person. I'm just laughing because I'm like, man, that's how bad things perpetuate. Like the advice was, yeah, we all kind of hate that. You kind of gut it out. It's like, really? That's typical. So if you listen to this pod and you're not like a heavy churchgoer, didn't grow up in Christendom, in some respects, that could be a huge bonus because you probably had more conversations about sex than most people who are just trying to live the pure life. And we leave out of the purity talks actually what to do because you're pure. You now have the power too. Different conversation. But
so true.
And then on top of that, like let's just say you are a daring Christian and you go rogue and you want information about sex. You go to like a sex therapist. And then you have to do that in like secret because you don't want anybody to ever know. It's like something's wrong. And forget about the people who want to like do anything sexually explorative. Like forget about going to an adult bookstore. I mean, if a Christian were to see you go to an adult toy store that has sex in it, I mean, you will be completely ejected from the Christian knitting circle within the day. So people got to go in there like they're, trying to get an illegal passport or something crazy. But heaven forbid, good Jesus-fearing people would want to know a little bit more about such a vital thing, and they don't know where to find the answer. So where does that leave people, Losey Bell? I'll tell you, with a whole lot of questions, which is why we have a podcast, to have some fun and talk about these things. So let's go back to the key question again. My husband will not initiate sex, and we have not had sex in 12 years. What do I do?
Which is interesting because usually it's the other way around. That it's the woman hasn't initiated anything.
It is true.
So this is an interesting
one. It is. It's a good one. And right off the bat, if you just listen to that and you recoiled in horror, it's not as remotely uncommon or wild as you think it might be. And even the common therapeutic and research logic defines a sexless marriage as a couple that has sex less than 10 times a year. And there is really clear data that shows there's a sizable minority of people that report no sex in the course of an entire calendar year.
Wow.
So you're not weird or alone if you're listening to this, man or woman, and you're not on some island if you relate to this challenge, because what no stat can accurately gather is the heartache and the sadness and loneliness and the insecurity and the instability this can create. And it's hard for a lot of people to get through this. So it's a real thing. And here's the truth. Listen to me. It's a solvable thing. So take heart today if this hits home today. If you are already feeling mildly hopeful, you'll leave with a lot of hope if you stick it out through this whole combo, because you don't have to live like that. There's a clearer, kinder, more powerful way to live.
Yeah, and I think one thing we can clear up right away is what one of the biggest shame and pressure producers can be in a marriage is the comparison trap. Because if you don't have a lot of context for sex in your marriage, you can start to look around and see if it's normal, if it's not, like, are we okay? I don't know if we're doing like TV shows, magazines, convos with other people. Before you know it, you're judging yourself, according to somebody else's
freaking scoreboard.
So it's like it can be really dangerous if you don't have someone you can talk to as well. So.
Yeah, I mean, last thing you want to do is watch any show on TV and start to build your marriage around that.
Yeah.
And I think comparison in general, y'all, is just the most ill-fated journey to ever go on in the first place. To compare yourself to people you really don't know is the easiest way to feel terrible about life. So here's a truthful anchor. If you are confused about what may be right for you when it comes to the sexual frequency in your marriage, what's the right amount of sex to be having as a couple? Here is what Laura and I always tell people who have that very genuine question. The answer is whatever that couple has agreed to, honestly and safely, period. That's what's right.
Yeah.
It's not what somebody else said. It's what the two people have agreed to, and that feels good to them. That's right. No matter what that is, if it's right for you, it's right. No matter if someone else overhears it, makes fun of you, or, throw some weird shady comment at you. This is about you. It's about your marriage. That's what we always tell people. Like, how much sex should we be having? Our question's always like, you tell us.
Right.
You dig, you find out, you decide what matters, and then you stand on it. And there's a lot of peace in that.
Well, because it's not a right or wrong thing.
Right.
It's actually an alignment thing. So an
Yes.
alignment and agreement
Well
thing.
said.
If
Yes.
you both feel good about it, whatever you decide, it's right for you. Because I've heard people say, you should be having sex, this was in church, you should be having sex at least 3 to 4 times a week with your husband. And it's like, well, maybe, but maybe they don't want that, or maybe you haven't talked about that. So why do they get to choose? It's definitely a partner conversation. Yeah. It shouldn't be
the worst logic is whatever your husband thinks, which is actually said.
Right.
I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to give any energy to this, but I see some of these guys, and typically it's preachers, who do this heavy-handed weirdness, and they just we believe it's not only wrong, it's stupid, it's illogical. So this has to be.
That doesn't mean what submission is, by the way.
Yeah, of course it doesn't. We're not even going there. But and this is assuming our definition, what's right frequency-wise, is what the couple agrees on. We're assuming and inferring that you have actual honesty with your partner. We've heard some couples talk about agreements, and we've watched half the couple roll their eyes with contempt. And I'm like, that ain't agreement, my friend. That is a seismic volcano vibe. That is just an absolute matter of time before that resentment spills out. We're talking about a clearly defined, peacefully communicated, same page moment. So here's what we're going to do. And we're going to make this really clear. Okay, so rather than answer the question as it was posed to us, let me offer some new questions that might get you even more helpful information. Okay, so try these 3 questions. Ready? Number 1, what has sex come to mean in your marriage? What has initiating sex come to cost the man who's not initiating? And then for the person who might be asking what this awesome lady also had asked, like, he's not initiating, what has non-initiating come to cost you? And those answers are where you're going to start finding hope and freedom and power and a new kind of flow in your marriage. And sometimes we got to learn to ask better questions, because we ask sometimes very, very straight line questions, and that never really unlocks the truth. So think about those questions and kick those around for a while and really deeply consider what you find, because it's a big deal. Lights On is sponsored by God Behind Bars. Go back a couple episodes ago, and I interviewed my friend Jake. I interviewed a man of honor that you're going to see about his story, what God's done in his life in prison. If you want to be a part of something incredible this year, please consider God Behind Bars. And it's just one of the most powerful things anybody could ever be a part of. You can send money. You can find out how you can help and volunteer. There's nothing like it. Check it out. I'm so proud of what God Behind Bars does, and I'm proud to work with them on this pod. So please check it out this year, y'all. Pray about it with your family. Think about it. How can you help them? You have a role to play.
Well, right away, it's fair for the person asking, the person who's waiting for initiation, like, why might that be?
Yeah.
Why
aren't they initiating?
Why aren't you initiating?
Right.
It's not right or wrong, but you need to know the initiation responsibility is on the husband.
Yeah. Why is that?
Why?
You got to ask that question, because it's not, like you said, it's not going to be something you uncover that's wrong with you, but you need to know, maybe my frame.
And it may be, it's okay. It might not be, but if you know the core reason clearly, you can use that to bring help and clarity to him.
Yes. Yes, it's beautiful. So, Lozzie, you've told me that when it comes to women that lack initiation in this area of having sex, you said normally it revolves around the risk they have to take emotionally, and they build a pattern around that. True?
Yeah, because it's the fear of and the risk of being rejected, or I might fail.
Yeah, do the sound like thing. So what does it sound like?
It sounds like I might be rejected. I might fail. I might have to initiate if we start. Expectations come next. Women who are in this situation are often really scared or feel shame about it and embarrassment.
So the woman who doesn't initiate, you're saying the internal dialogue is, I'm scared to take this risk.
Yeah.
Because if I get rejected, that will hurt.
Yeah.
He says, no, that will hurt. If he says, if I say yes and he says yes, then what does that mean for? So it's just a lot of fear, a lot of risk.
Yeah.
On the man side, for some men, after years of dealing with this, feeling like they just can't win no matter what they do, the safest strategy becomes just to shut the whole system down. And this does not mean that this man does not love this woman. It does not mean he does not love the marriage. It means his nervous system. Hear me if you're listening, lean all the way in. If you're a wife dealing with this and you have a husband that it's been a long time since he has initiated anything, it means his nervous system has learned avoidance as protection. And the longer it goes, the heavier it gets. None of this is right or wrong. These are just facts. So what do you actually do? So if you've heard this now and you're like, okay, what do you actually do? Here is what could be a gold mine answer for you. What do? You have to go higher than sex. Got to go higher. You have to rebuild safety, clarity, and truth. And it's been said, and Laura would give me a fist pound because we absolutely believe this. I talked to you about this right before we came in. It's been said that the best sex anybody could ever have is downstream from a friendship, being aligned, feeling appreciated, living connected. And those things can produce a climate where real intimacy and fulfilling sex, it's the byproduct. It's like undeniable. So you have to start a new conversation. Hear me, if you're listening, you got to start a new one. And it has to shift from accusation to exploration. And that's not as easy to do as we're making it sound, because you and I have had our own WWE battles. Like, let's explore. And within 5 minutes, we were accusing each other of. So it takes a lot of work, but it's a beautiful work because you have to figure it out. Like, conversations that are about accusation are horrific. Conversations that are genuinely about exploration, they are fantastic, because here's the truth. You are not going to fix this in a day. And you are not going to come up with a magic sentence that will magically change your whole dynamic. There is no podcast out there where some guy's going to, let me tell you, or one of those weird TikTok ladies, here's something you can say to your wife and it'll change everything. I don't believe any of that. I think it's going to take work. You can, though, start a conversation that becomes a constant conduit of connection and communication that produces so much gold in your whole marriage. You will benefit from the challenges you have had previously. Trust me on this, because often this is a gateway to so much more joy and connection and intimacy and love.
Yes. So here is how to start this epic and important conversation.
And before you even launch into that, this works.
Yes.
We have tried this and we live here. So this is not a theory. This is something that's worked for us. Yes, fire away. How do you start it? Okay, so if someone's bought in, how do you start it?
Well, here's how not to start it.
There you go. I like that.
Do not start with, so why don't you want me? Am I not pretty enough?
It already sounds crappy.
Yeah.
Don't start there. Okay, so where do you start then? If you don't start with, so you don't like this, what's up with you? Don't start with, for real?
Yeah.
I could get anybody.
That.
For real? You don't want me? I'll find somebody who does. That's not good. Okay,
no,
what should be said?
Something like, I want us to be honest about what this has become for both of us.
I like the tone.
Because I love you and I miss you and I miss us and I want this connection badly.
Okay, say that again. And I don't know if everyone has the luxury of hearing a voice like yours. I do sometimes silently have compassion for some friends that have wives and their voices are so grating.
Mine gets grating when I get tired.
No,
My
it's never
Aussie
great.
accent
Even
gets
your
like,
grading
ugh.
is still pretty lovely. But say that conversation again. And maybe
Okay.
if you're listening, imagine yourself saying this without the Aussie accent, but there's a lot in the tone. There's a lot in the posture. So we're not saying, why don't you like this body? We are saying,
I want us to be honest about what this has become for both of us, because I love you and I miss you and I miss us and I want this connection badly. Did that make you teary?
well, I just feels, I mean, we've had this combo. So yes,
Yeah.
it does in ways because frick, I shouldn't have had you reread it. No, I remember that day. I remember those days of having to rebuild this thing.
Yeah.
And having these conversations. I remember hearing your tone and stuff like that. And it just is like, man, I'm very grateful. I think these are grateful tears that I'm fighting back diligently. And honestly, if anybody says that to a spouse and it is not received well, it is still a win. Do you know why? Because if that's received coldly or with defensiveness, that is very, very, very important data for you to take seriously. Because you immediately know, I'm so glad I had that, because now I just found out this goes so much farther than I thought it does. Like if you say that with that tone and that posture, it's impossible to fight back for that. So all I just heard was, you really love me, you really care about this, and you really want to explore this part of a connection that we right now are not connected on.
Yeah.
How could that be received bad? So if it is, even that's a win, because
Yeah.
you get some data. So yeah, go ahead. So once this is underway,
Yep.
we've launched the beautiful Laura Lentz Aussie conversational launch. Now what do you do?
So there's a way that we found it helpful
Yes.
to split it up into 3 avenues.
Yep. And
to
this is
have this
quick.
kind of-
This is
yeah.
quick and beautiful. So what this does is it clears up a lot of the meandering, and it goes. These are good.
Okay, so the first one, avenue 1, is remove the invisible stuff first. So
Say more.
this is something that I had to work through,
Yeah.
like stress, hormones. Those 2 are major, or just emotional dysregulation in your body. Like your nervous system being dysregulated is massive. So sometimes you find out that there are simply just some like practical things you may not even know to explore.
Right.
Or know where to look for it. So I would say, especially for women, low libido or like
Yeah.
not feeling yourself, not feeling great, feeling depressed, feeling like all these different things, emotional, over emotional, dramatic, like any of those.
Yeah.
It's
You on a Tuesday.
it could be some very
Right.
simple things that you need to go get your blood work
Okay,
done.
yes.
And get some help.
It's really good. It's really good. Talk to me though, babe, about like how common it is, because you will always say it'll happen again. Like how common it is for you to talk to a woman who feels like she has insurmountable intimacy challenges.
Yeah.
And then you ask her these really simple questions about hormones and getting the levels checked, and it's almost certain,
Well, for some
by and large, that they have never even looked into that.
No, because for some reason we go straight to what's wrong with me, and you make it more personal, like I'm a terrible person, instead of going, maybe there's something wrong with my body. So let me find a doctor. So this is so common.
And for the guy, guess what? Same for you. There's a
Yes.
lot of men who feel like they're out of touch with their own body.
And you know why this is, maybe no one cares, but men now, because usually after your 30s, your testosterone starts to drop naturally. They're finding that like 20s and teens are having that effect because they're not doing as much physical activity as they used to. Kids and teenagers, men are inside, they're at offices, they're sitting down.
Yeah.
So their natural testosterone is very low because of our environment. So
And then you compound this.
Go get
And
some help.
For any man that's dealt with any porn addiction, it changes the way your brain associates any sort of sex. So there's a lot of men who can sometimes really struggle to get sexually activated. And if you don't know that that's a part of it, you can't unwind it.
Right.
So point 1 of this beautiful conversation that you get to have if you want a better intimate connection and more frequent or at least understood sex in your marriage, figure out what practical hurdles there might be. And it is wildly important. So that's avenue number 1.
Yep.
Well said, love. Avenue number 2. This is big. This is the relational, emotional disconnect avenue. And let me save you some heavy lifting. Okay, listen, this almost always is going to include, so you can be ready for it, unresolved conflict, chronic criticism, and feeling undesirable. Some mix of that three will be in play when you really start to dig into a couple that does not have alignment on sexual frequency. So right away, you now have the clearest path to a new season because all of these things are completely controllable.
Yes.
Think about how great that is to hear. So if you get past question one and you're like, cool, well, no practical stuff is in the way. Let's go to question two. Let's talk about a relational connection or lack thereof. And now you start to hear some of these answers in a non-defensive way. You can change all of those. And think about what happens. Let me give you a little vision of hope when you take this stuff off the board. The opposite of unresolved conflict is peace. The opposite of chronic criticism is appreciation. The opposite of feeling undesirable is being chosen. So you tell me, if a man or woman feels peaceful, appreciated, and chosen, do you think that person might be more inclined to have passionate and fulfilling sex more frequently? Now you're starting to see how possible this shift really is. But when you look at it like that, my gosh, it's like, rather than whatever, let's just say if you're listening, my brother, and you're going to have this conversation with your, the woman that you love dearly, and she says, I don't feel chosen. I don't feel this. Rather than push back, you should be locked in taking notes because that's an easy fix. At least the next question.
Oh my gosh.
What makes you feel desired? Well, this does. How many times does that make? And now you have a game plan where this is a beautiful opportunity for you to go, thank God. Maybe there's some hope.
Yeah. If more men could hear this,
Yes.
the world would be a better place. So basically, be kinder, you'll get more action.
Hey. Say it clearly and slowly because I like that.
If men would be kinder, they will get more action.
Yeah, I concur.
Am I right?
I mean, I'm not even going to say my motive for kindness is godly sometimes. It's only to get the action.
100%. And
I
don't
stand
care.
on that with all 10 of my toes.
I will take all the kindness you give when it's like that.
And you don't care about the motivation. But let me say this because this is funny. Great. Well said. Be kinder. Get more action. If you're driving in your truck right now, my brother, and you're listening to the Lights On pod, be kinder. Get more action. And this is actually a bigger point than you realize because I will hear men out. And I did say to a guy that I know really well, I said, I got to be honest with you, man, you are a total jerk most of the time. So you just gave me this big, long sob story about your wife and about what she doesn't do and all this stuff. And have you recorded your voice ever? Have you ever just thought about what it would be like to hear your critical, mean, insecure self day in and day out? I don't know a woman on earth that would want to even get near you. So I'm not saying that what you've said about your wife is not valid. I'm saying I'm looking at the valid proof of who you are. Maybe spend some time, and I can speak from personal experience, like and you know I am a savage undertaker of self-growth, personal digging. And the more you do it, your eyes leave what you lack, and you're like, I'm not worried about what you're going to bring to the table, bub, because I'm going to bring so much freaking evidence to the table that I got it even if you don't grow. Right. And it becomes the best addiction a man could ever have, which is looking in the mirror going, how can I get better? How can I cannot control my wife. I cannot control her growth. I can control me. I'll take my chances with a man who is dedicated to his side of the tracks and what a marriage is produced, outside of that. Or in Laura Lentz's words, be kinder, get more action.
Oh boy.
It's not wrong. Lights On, partners with Plana.org. They've been with this podcast since day one, and there has never been a more important time to support organizations like this. The things that hit young moms in this world, unexpected pregnancies, lack of support, lack of finance, lack of help. Plana is literally a one-stop shop for people that need help and will not find it any other way. You can download their app today. You can send money. You can support them. If you've ever wondered, what can I do to help somebody that's in crisis? That's a great place to start. Plana is incredible. They give moms counseling. They give people practical help and needs. They help people close gaps. Because if you have known anybody that's ever had an unexpected pregnancy, even if you have all the resources, it's a lot. If you don't, it can be really scary. Plana is quelling some of that fear. So please check it out today, plana.org. Change somebody's life today. Okay, avenue number 1, check out the invisible hurdles. Avenue number 2, talk about the relational connection or lack thereof. Finally, avenue number 3, real simple, what's the meaning of marriage to y'all? Very easy. What does sex mean to you? What does it mean to me? And what does it mean to us? Why would this be so hugely important? Finding out what it means to you as a couple will be unique. And if you don't know it, you don't even know what you're shooting for. So for some couples, it means something different than another couple. But for y'all, what does it mean? Does sex mean obligation? Does sex mean power? Not right or wrong. You just got to be honest about what meaning you've attached to it. Does sex mean shame? These things are vitally important to figure out where you're going.
Yeah, because until you name it, what sex represents, you can't fix it.
That's true.
You'll be treating a symptom while the symbol, like the real issue, the heart of it,
heart of the freaking matter,
still stays untouched. So for us, sex represents all is well. Like,
yes. Wait, hold on. I love this because it is true. Because we've had this convo and we've done all this work ourselves and do it. And we are clear that to us, me and you, our meaning that we attach to sex, it's a signal that says all is well.
Yeah.
And it's really easy for us to kind of live by that navigation.
Well, because when that's true,
when we're having sex,
yes, it's very easy for us to say connected.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
yes.
It makes it easy. If we're having sex, all is well. If you're not, all is not well, and we go immediately to connect and talk about it.
And to talk about it.
So for us, the meaning we've placed on sex is, it means for us, all is well.
Simple, clear.
Yeah.
If we're having sex and the sex is, we're connected, all is well.
Well, and it makes it very easy for us to stay connected.
Because if we're not having sex, all is not well.
Right.
And
then
so
we have to go talk about it.
We got to go talk about it. We got to, hey, what's going on? Like and it's not even about the actual sex. It's about the actual communication. Because sometimes all is well. We haven't had sex in a while, but we're totally clear on that. We're both good to go. All is well.
Yeah.
That's what it should mean to us. It's a reflection. It's a mirror into kind of the bigger picture of our whole relationship, and that's worked really well for us. So once you get some agreement, and once you get some peaceful clarity in this combo, here's something you can try. So let's give all hope through this camera. Let's just say you have had this conversation, and now you're like, okay, cool. We're clear that there's no natural causes killing us. 2, we had some unresolved conflict, and we're going to try to resolve it. Boom. 3, you've now decided that sex to us means whatever your phrase can be. And then what do? I'm going to leave you with this. It's called the pressure reset. For 2 months, just connection. No
2 months.
Further.
Wow.
Lozzie, this is your template. Yes, 2 months. Just connection, no intercourse, no fireworks, no full kit and caboodle. No, it's like, Carl, enough with those. You get to build closeness again.
Yeah.
So this conversation has set a new course.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you now get to run into the bedroom because, see, you said we resolved it. You said your libido was fine and you've resolved it, and sex means we got to have it. So what's happening with it? No, that's not the goal here.
Yeah.
You get to now build closeness again, touch without agenda, because the clear goal for this is not to lead to more.
Yeah.
It is simply for us to feel safe being together with no freaking agenda. You get to practice. You get to test what it feels like again to be close with no pressure to parlay this into some kind of performance metric later. And again, if you don't know Laura and I's story, we have walked some very, very trepidatious waters when it comes to reconnection because of my actions, because of my betrayal, because of what I did, the thing that should never, without the grace of God, be what it is today is a reconnected sexual life. It shouldn't happen. And people go, how did y'all get there? Slowly.
Yeah.
Words. We don't care about the end game because sex is not that. Like sex to us is like neither here nor there. Actually, some of our best moments in the past 5 years have been when we've planned on having sex, but we get to the opening to possibly do it and we're like, I'm chilling. You? And we will literally fist pound and say, let's just watch a show. Like to me, that is the safest place to be because we both are free to say that. If we've planned to have romance and we don't have it, there's not
no
fear.
Insecurity. There's no like,
and this is a work in progress. Like even lately, like the newest edition of this is you really being free, even if there's a clear plan. Like the other night, we had a great romantic night planned. When it got down to it, you weren't feeling great, and you kind of said it not bashfully, but you were just like, I don't feel great. And I'm like, love, say that out. It's totally cool. Yeah. And it was just a beautiful combo we were able to have off the back of it. I've gotten to the place
now where I'm like, hey, I would really like to just go to bed.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just want to go to sleep. But we've done this experiment for a long time, especially post bad decisions on your end.
I already said that. You don't have to re-highlight it. Go ahead.
But the reason why it helped to remove any pressure or expectation, which is a really cool thing because when you take that pressure off, you know you don't have to have sex, but you still can connect and like have that connection without the pressure of it.
Yes.
It just creates a feeling of having a really good friendship.
Well, we have become the best version of best friends in our late 40s.
Yeah.
Than our mid 20s. Like
100%.
we are best friends.
Yeah. And it's because of things like this.
Yeah.
And especially for people who have gone through infidelity stuff and are trying to rebuild the sex part of their marriage, it can take a really long time.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
It's
as long as there's no pressure or like feelings in, of that, this is why we talk about it, is because it's so good to have it without that pressure packed feeling of like the woman especially feeling free to be just be.
Yeah. And maybe this is a big deal. I need you to listen to me. If you're one of my brothers and you're listening right now, our sexual appetite is wildly different. So there's a lot of people who think that because you have agreement, everyone's getting what they want. That's not real marriage. That's not real life. Like what I want sometimes isn't what's best for us. So you lay down what you want and you go with what is best for both. And you eventually what you want can even change into you wanting that more than what you used to just want. So let me put this in like really clear terms. I probably would want to have sex more than you.
Correct.
Fair, clear. And that doesn't drive every freaking decision, especially now. Oh my goodness. Like when I talk to guys who have shared my road of breaking vows and clear sin that crushes other people, like you really got to own that on the other side of the tracks and go, well, my sexual appetite kind of led my life before.
Right.
So the last thing you want to do is hop in a brand new chapter of marriage and act like that's a pressure thing. Like, hey, I'm a recovering sex addict, so no pressure, but whenever you're ready to trust me again.
And this is where the bad advice and wisdom comes from pastors and pastors' wives.
Yeah.
Because they're in unhealthy relationships too.
That's true.
So hearing things like, well, you should just do it because your husband needs it, that's not okay.
Think about how stupid.
So many pastors' wives say that.
Think about how stupid that is. So if a wife doesn't feel safe, doesn't feel valued, and she goes and gets advice, and the advice says, well, you got to get over that because your husband needs it.
Now you've got sexual trauma.
Something is horrifically, nefariously twisted in this scenario.
Yep.
My needs as the man in this relationship are very important. Your needs are very important. Mm-hmm. As a couple, our values are higher. So if my need doesn't fit our value right now, guess who gets to take your need and shove it for a little bit? Me, it's my job as a man.
Right.
And I've said this before, that's where the entitlement comes in of an addicted man. Mm-hmm. You can hear it early in somebody's journey, like, well, I did what I did because, she didn't really talk to me. She didn't really, and it's not that it's not true. It's that it doesn't make it right.
Doesn't matter. Yeah.
So I get it. You felt ignored and you felt like she didn't love you and you broke your vows. Been there.
Mm-hmm.
There is no explanation. There is no rationale. So as you rebuild your life, you got to be able to say, I'm going to be clear with what I need for sure. And I'm going to have a lot of patience and wherewithal to understand you're on your journey. And there is a freaking day, let me say this before we end this pod, where the other side of the coin really has to own that too, though. Like you can't sit in your trauma
100%.
for 17 years. Like this is unbelievable. And that happens too.
That happens a lot.
And then we tell those men, you and I have done this together with some amazing men, like, hey man, you're doing your job and you've been really gracious with putting your needs aside. There is going to come a day when you got to make some sort of a transition and talk about this differently, because it's unacceptable to say that you forgive someone and then still hold this area of a marriage hostage because you don't want to grow.
Right.
Both these things are true. You don't have to. A husband cannot demand it, and it's an essential part of having a healthy relationship. So that is our heartfelt delivery for those that are listening. This has been really, really transparent, but there's really no other way to go about this conversation. Let me just say this before we get out of here. And I hope this has been helpful. It's been good. I've learned some stuff from you listening. I want you to listen to me closely, though. Regardless of the outcome of the conversation you're going to have, you're being brave. You're doing something that is huge. And it's more than doing a brave thing. You're being brave. You're saying, by having this conversation, I love our marriage enough to start this thing, to make this statement. We're not going to go drift for another year. That right there is brave. That is ownership. That is power. That is courage. Even if it goes bad, the point of this podcast and this conversation is not to get a product. It's to help you in your journey of becoming somebody that is honest, and you embrace this stuff and you own this stuff. So just by having the convo, whoever is the instigator of it, good for you. You're brave. Because what you're saying is, right or wrong, we're not drifting. We're not going another year without having sex and not talking about it. We're not going through another 5-year mark where we kind of just act like this isn't a big deal. It is a big deal, and I'm not going to avoid it. It's not going to control me. Let's freaking talk about it. There's freedom on the other side of that brave move. Lights on. Laura Lentz, my bride. I love you. Lights off. See you soon. Subscribe, share, click, throw, give.
Repost.
We love you. Bye.
Bye.